Επιστρέψαμε και πάλι.
Here we are again. Everything we listen to is very interesting, both in relation to the digital transformation. Earlier, the democratic crisis was discussed. Everything is on the agenda. Both we and the audience are very lucky because we have been listening to views that we could have hardly ever heard all together. But I don't even, I'm very confused by AI. I don't know how it can be used. The idea is how can we create a safe environment so that the economy and what we now discuss is not put at risk. So we will now discuss with Bernie Saunders. It is time to listen to him. He's 84 years old, but he looks very young. He's ready to fight oligarchy in favor of human rights and those in need, in favor of the many, like a teenager. Ever since Donald Trump was elected, he has been traveling around the U.S., urging everybody to oppose Trump's policies against immigrants, against the poor, against the students and universities.
Well, it is wonderful to be with you, and let me thank Alexis and everybody else for putting on this very important conference.
Senator, if you can repeat, because we didn't have the chance to hear you.
Okay.
The applause.
All right. How are we doing now?
Great. We hear you.
Better.
All right.
We
Well,
can
let me
hear you.
just thank Alexis and everybody else for putting on this important conference, which is long overdue. Right-wing extremists all over the world have been organizing effectively, and I think that it's time we built an international progressive socialist movement, and this is a step forward. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Senator, if you could tell us what do you think led to the elections, to the win of President Trump?
Thank you. That is a very important question, and I think many people around the world haven't a clue in terms of the answer. In the United States right now, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of my country. You got one man, Mr. Musk, owning more wealth than the bottom 52% of households. One person, more wealth than the bottom 52% of households. The top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 90%. You got CEOs of large corporations making 350 times what their average workers make. And while the rich have never, ever had it so good, what people around the world don't understand, they think America is a very wealthy country. Well, in one way it is. But today in America, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Millions of workers are earning starvation wages. We are the only major country not to guarantee health care to all. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. 60,000 people a year die because they don't get to a doctor on time. Our child care system is a total disaster. Young people go deeply in debt in order to go to college. And all over our country, people cannot afford housing, which is going up and up and up. So what you have is a situation where working people are struggling, and as is in the case with many social democratic parties around the world, the Democratic Party here in the United States has largely ignored that reality. And you have Trump coming along and saying, the whole system is broken. And people say, yeah, he's right. The system is broken. Now, as everybody knows, his solutions will only make a bad situation worse. On the other hand, what the Democrats say is, well, you know, it's not so bad. We're going to do a little bit of here and a little bit there, and nobody thinks they understand what's going on. So Trump wins the election because the American people, vast majorities, are hurting. They want change, and the Democrats, in my view, did not offer an alternative to Trumpism.
Senator, what is the role of the oligarchs and the billionaires in the executive branch of government in this new era? This is a new era. It's the calamity of Trump, as you're saying, as you're describing. What is the role of the oligarchs?
Well, and by the way, everything that I'm saying is not just an American issue. You're seeing the same thing throughout Europe. People are giving up on democracy because democracy doesn't do anything for them. Rich get richer, they get poorer. Why should I vote? Who cares? One of the phenomenons of the modern world economy is that we are seeing fewer and fewer unbelievably wealthy people who have extraordinary political and economic power. So in America, we have more concentration of ownership than we have ever had in our history. In economic sector after sector, a few large corporations owned by billionaires control what is produced and what workers are paid. Now, many of you may have noticed that Donald Trump's first foreign policy visit when he left the United States was not to go to Europe to develop and improve relationship with our longtime allies, didn't go to Canada, didn't go to Mexico. He went to Saudi Arabia. Now, why does he go to Saudi Arabia? Because that is where a lot of the money is. If you look at Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, you're looking at God knows how much, but certainly well over $1 trillion in wealth, run by authoritarians. So what you are seeing right now is a small number of billionaires with enormous economic and political power. Many Europeans don't understand how corrupt the American political system is, our campaign finance system is. Elon Musk himself, just him, put $270 million into Donald Trump's campaign. Under our law, billionaires can spend as much money as they want. And other Republican billionaires helped elect Trump and Republican senators and members of the House. Democratic billionaires do not spend quite as much, but Democrats are largely reliant on billionaires as well. So in America, you have an oligarchy that not only has enormous economic power, but political power as well. And I would be very clear in saying this to you. You know, it's nothing new to say that very rich people don't want to pay their fair share of taxes. Trillions of dollars right now are being stored in tax havens around the world. It's not a new thing that large corporations don't like workers' rights, want to break unions, want to not pay people fair wages. Nothing new about that. But what is new in modern history right now is people like Musk and others do not believe in democracy. Do not believe in democracy. They believe that as incredibly wealthy people and very smart people and hardworking people, they have the divine right to rule. The divine right to rule. And government is an impediment to what they want to do. And we should be very mindful that with artificial intelligence and robotics, they're going to have more and more power if we allow them to control the future of AI and robotics. Workers are going to be in worse shape. So AI and robotics makes a very difficult situation even more troubling.
We see the picture clearly now. We see what's going on in Las Vegas, in Los Angeles, the last hours now. Senator, you have stood against the war and for peace in Ukraine and Palestine. What do you believe Trump or Vance mean when they say they're against the globalist wars?
Well, not very much. Trump, in my view, has a soft spot, has affection for Putin, because in many ways Putin is running the kind of country that Trump more or less would like to run. It's an authoritarian society. You have elections, but the elections are not, they're rigged. And in terms of Gaza, as I think most people know, I strongly opposed what Biden did, and I'm very much opposed to what Trump is doing right now. I don't have to explain to anybody the horrors that are taking place in Gaza right now, where thousands of children are facing starvation and 52,000 Palestinians have already been killed. What Trump is literally thinking about, as many of you know, and I would take it seriously, is the forcible expulsion of the 2.2 million people in Gaza who are already living under the worst conditions imaginable, forcing them out in order to develop some kind of paradise for billionaires of French Riviera in Gaza. I mean, it's unthinkable, and some people think it really can't be possible, but I think it may be.
Okay, everything for money, yeah. What should the global left do? What ideas should be organized around? We had the example in the 90s where a strong movement in many countries against neoliberal globalization and later against the Iraq war. And after the great financial crisis, we saw Occupy Wall Street connect with similar movements in Athens and in Madrid to protect working people from paying for the crisis. What should we do as the leftians?
Well, I think we have to change the intellectual paradigm. Right now, here in the United States, as some of you may know, Trump has proposed what he calls a big, beautiful bill. And that bill would give massive tax breaks to the rich, cut back on health care, nutrition programs for children, education, and other programs that working people desperately need. I think the paradigm that we should work around is to say that we're not living in 1825, we're not living in 1925, we're living in 2025. And with all of the technology that is out there, there is no reason why anybody in the developed world should not be living with a decent standard of living, and why we should not be moving aggressively to lower poverty rates in the developing world. We should be talking about a golden age using technology to create a decent life for all people. One of the things that we should be talking about is who controls, who benefits from the exploding technology out there through artificial intelligence and robotics. If left alone, the Musks and the other big tech companies are prepared to throw millions of workers all over this country out on the streets and replace them with this new technology. Our demand, for a start, should be to say technology is good when it works for workers, not just the CEOs and large corporations. What does that mean? It means that we should be talking about substantially lowering the work week. Here in the United States, the United Automobile Workers and some other unions are now talking about a 32-hour work week without any loss of pay. I think that's a movement in the right direction. In the United States, as I mentioned, we're the only major country on earth doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses, we don't have enough mental health counselors, dentists, etc. There is no rational reason why that is taking place. And I know in Europe, many healthcare systems are struggling in similar ways. So our job should be to raise the banner and say, you know what? We want to expand life expectancy. Is it unrealistic to say that the next 20 years, people should be living for 100 years because they have good nutrition, good housing, good health care? Is it unrealistic to say that everybody on this planet should be entitled to education regardless of his or her income, from child care to graduate school? Is it unrealistic to say that we should build the millions and millions of units of low-income and affordable housing we desperately need, that combined as a world we deal with the existential threat of climate change and take on the greed of the fossil fuel industry and create many millions of jobs all over the world? So my answer is, understand that Trump and right-wing extremists around the world are very bold. They are very aggressive. We have got to be bold. We have got to be aggressive. And that means, to my mind, that people should not be worth more than $1 billion. People do not need 20, 30, $50 billion. That workers increasingly should be able to own and control the places in which they work, etc. So the point is that technology offers us the opportunity to do what never could have been done 100 years ago, 50 years ago. But we cannot allow the incredible greed of the oligarchs to destroy the planet and destroy the lives of working class people.
Senator, every country has its own labor movement, but we are also all facing similar challenges in the rise of oligarchy, corporate greed, and the growing threat of AI, as you mentioned, and automation that may transform the relationship between labor and capital and eliminate many jobs. How should we respond?
Well, I think I just answered that. And the answer is, this is a huge issue, which is not getting the discussion that it needs. And when you look at AI, there are so many ramifications. You know, there are some indications right now that what we're looking maybe at a science fiction nightmare where AI is not listening to the human beings who direct them. They are disobeying orders, and we don't know what that might mean. But what we do know above and beyond that is, you're quite right, there is a lot of evidence out there, and it's beginning to happen, that AI and robotics will replace jobs all over the country. And the very simple demand is, who is going to benefit from that profound economic transformation? And what the oligarchs want is, they will control it. There are literally posters here in the United States, I don't know about the Europe, which say, don't hire humans. That's the poster. Don't hire humans. In other words, we have AI that can do the job. And this is only going to grow. Who's going to make the decisions as to who benefits from that issue? This is a profound issue. We have got to organize our people to say, AI, robotics are going to work for workers, shorter work weeks. If there's more productivity, workers benefit from that, not just the CEOs.
You said about the Eastern Riviera in Gaza. What about that war over there, about the starvation of the people? Do you believe that in terms of anti-Islamism or anti-Semitism, the extreme rights will be using them as weapons?
Yeah. Let me be very clear. As somebody who is Jewish and who lost family to Hitler in the Holocaust, anti-Semitism is a disgusting ideology which, as everybody knows, has cost millions and millions of lives. And I trust that there's nobody who is at all sympathetic to anti-Semitism. But it is also clear to me that what Netanyahu has done with supporters here in the United States is to say that anybody who is critical of the government of Israel and their war against the Palestinian people is anti-Semitic, and that is absurd. You could be against the government of Israel without being anti-Semitic. You could be against the government of Ireland without being anti-Irish or anti-Italian or whatever. What Netanyahu is doing now with his right-wing extremist partners is a racist, horrific war against the Palestinian people. It is, and I will say this, it's not only, as terrible as it is, that thousands of children, as we speak, are facing starvation, that the whole infrastructure of Gaza has been destroyed. Their schools, their water systems, their wastewater plants, their healthcare facilities. 52,000 people dead, 110,000 people wounded, children walking around without arms. That's a horror unto itself. But if you combine that with what's going on in Ukraine right now, what is being undermined is any semblance of international law. Netanyahu is a war criminal. The people in Hamas who committed that terrible invasion of Israel are war criminals. And what happened after World War II, as everybody knows, what the Nuremberg trials was about, what the Geneva Conventions were about, is to say that, yeah, war is terrible, but you don't starve children, you don't bomb hospitals. That's not, you can't do that in a war. And if Netanyahu is able to get away with that, then I can see dictators and horrible people all over the world saying, hey, the world doesn't care. We can starve children in order to win a war. So you're really almost looking into a descent into barbarism, is what I see.
Thank you, Senator. I will have voted for you.
All good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.